Hey guys, Kev here, and I have a full review, well, overview, I guess, to do for you on the Sparrow Knife Co. Strix. This is a prototype. This is a production version, the Best Tech Made production version. The pre-order went live today, actually, so you will be seeing this after the pre-order. I believe it ends on the 25th of November, and this video will probably go up in early December. So I did get an unboxing up before the pre-order, so hopefully you guys got in on it. Please let me know down in the comments which version you picked up. If you did not pick one up, I would love to know why. Yeah, we can talk about that down in the comments section. You can hit the like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed. I've noticed, I was looking at the analytics, which I honestly never look at that stuff just because this is kind of just fun for me. Yeah, I do, I like promote stuff and whatever, but I only promote stuff I like and truly think is good. But it is more than just, at this point, fun for me. It is a little bit of work. It's a lot of work, but you get my point. Shit, I have no idea where I was going with that. Oh, I was looking at the analytics, and it was like more than half of the people that watch the videos are not subscribed. So, if you are watching this right now and you are not subscribed and you like the content, I would appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. That would be cool. If you just came by because you saw this knife and you were interested in this knife and you're researching it, totally get it. Watch a few videos, and then, if you like the content, subscribe or don't. Anyway, I don't go around asking for that stuff. I just looked at those stats the other day, and I was like, damn, 50-something% of you guys are just dogging me like that. I'm just kidding. Anyway, all right. Love you guys. So this is the Strix. I was lucky enough that the owner-operator of Sparrow Knife Co., Greg, was kind enough to send me one of these before the pre-order, which is really cool because, honestly, I really wanted one because I'd handled a custom at Blade Show, and I've always wanted a custom, and I wanted to check one out. And so when I heard there's a production version, I was like, yeah, that's great, right? And it's a sexy knife. It really does appeal to me a lot, and we can talk about that. Design-wise compared to the Stout, it has similarities with the Poon and the Sheep's Foot and the 50/50 choil and all that stuff, really. But I did not think it was going to work very well left-handed because this is a frame lock. And a lot of times the problem with frame locks are the lock bar pressure. As a lefty, you just can't flick them, right? But there are cases like the Jaeger here where I just have a pretty good natural position where my thumb lands on the clip. And if the clip is not putting pressure down on the lock bar, then I can fire it out fairly easily. And these two actually have some similarities in terms of how their lock bars are cut and everything. If you look in there, see that? The lock bar access is very similar on both of these. It's not my favorite, but it works. And once you get used to it, it's honestly really good. But that's something I wanted to point out. These do have some similarities, although they're very different knives. But you can see the way they kind of utilize the end of the blade, kind of turn it into a choil with the handle here. Then you have a swell, and then you have a straight line back. This one has more of an overarching kind of design along the back there, and this is more of a straight. And then, of course, the blade shapes are really different, but I can see a lot of similarities. They both have the hollow grinds. The swedging is very similar as well. I literally just thought of that 2 seconds before this video, so that's why I brought it up. Anyway, frame locks don't usually work well, but so I wasn't going to order one on the pre-order. I was like, it's not going to work lefty, and it gave me an excuse not to do it. You know what I mean? because sometimes you need excuses not to spend money on more knives. But sadly, he agreed to send me one, and I got it right before this pre-order, which was today. Or no, yesterday. Today? Shit. Yes. No, it was today. Sorry. Damn. I thought it was Saturday that it was the pre-order. Today's Sunday the 20th. Anyway. But, as I feel it, this works really well left-handed. Just fires out really well. So I did order one. I ordered the full tie version, and we'll talk about the different versions later on and what I think about them, because I do think there could have been some different versions that I would have liked better, but, you know, that's just the way it goes with pre-orders or anything. You're never going to appease everybody. But I did go with the full tie with the slits in the handle. So let's really run down the knife. We'll talk about the review points, and then I'll try to get you guys out of here in under maybe 25 minutes if possible. Aesthetically, this is an absolutely sexy knife. I just love the design. Now, closed, it's good. It's good closed. Not my favorite in the world, but it's good. But when you open this bad boy up, it really pops. That blade shape is just excellent. It reminds me of a dinosaur's head. Is it like a hadrosaur or whatever? It just has that sort of like angry reptile bird face thing going on, and it's just gnarly. And then you have this awesome hollow grind. I did measure this actually earlier, and I measured it at like 15 thousandths behind the edge, which is impressive. And I actually did cut some cardboard with this guy. Hopefully that was okay. But I had it in my pocket, and I went out to the dumpster to cut some, and I was like, you know what? So I just, I hit a few pieces of cardboard with it, and this thing was a laser beam, and it was so comfortable in hand because of the way the 50-50 choil is and the way your thumb lands right on this sort of landing spot. It's very comfortable to just go through those cardboard type cuts. See, this is what I'm talking about with the lock bar. It's just a little bit, it's basically meant for you to get in there like this and do this. And it works great for that. Can I do this move? Oh, no. Shit. So anyway, sorry, I'm all over the place. Aesthetics, beautiful, gorgeous. It comes in this version with a stonewash blade, bead blast handle, and then a carbon fiber inlay. And this is some raindrop carbon fiber. It must be what Best Tech had on hand is my guess, because I know Mr. Mister used the same stuff from Best Tech. And then it has the frame lock on this side, where I think it would have been cool with the inlay versions if they had done a bolster lock. And that's just my opinion. I don't like knives that have one-sided inlays. Now, I will say, as that goes, this is probably one of the better looking ones. It pulls it off for some reason. I don't know why. It just does. It doesn't look awkward that it has the inlay just on one side. But anyway, you have this version. And then you have a micarta inlay version, and that has a belt satin, which, man, that belt satin looks so sexy. So then they have a full tie version that has like oblong slits. I think 4 oblong slits, like right here, and the belt satin. And that's the one I got. Then they have one that's a PVD handle blade with the slits. So no inlay, full tie, 4 slits, PVD, and it has Damascus backspacer and clip, and then it has a Damasteel blade, and that one was like $650, and all the other ones were right around $345. The full tie, plain tie one was $336. So I did get the cheapest one actually, and I was really debating back and forth between the full tie and the micarta one. And it's just because the micarta with the belt satin just looked really good. But what ultimately convinced me to go full tie was I really like the look of the slits. Usually I don't like speed holes, but these were slits, not speed holes. Was that, and then the inlay on one side thing. I literally don't think I own a knife with that. I've had a couple that had that, and then I always end up selling them because I just don't like the inlay or scale on one side type of thing. I'm just weird like that. I don't know why. So I ended up just getting the full tie because I didn't want to risk it and then end up wanting to sell it or something. And I almost bought both, but I just can't be buying 2 of everything right now. I do that a lot. Do that way too much. So who knows? Maybe tomorrow I'll go back and order the micarta. But yeah, those are the versions. And I do wish there was a version with like a fat carbon. That would have been cool. I wish there maybe was a version with a hand satin. Not that I would want that, but then I wish there was a black. So I wish there was the black PVD handled one with the belt satin. So like a tuxedo version. And I think that's just personal, because we did that on one of our knives. It makes me think that, and I really like that look. So anyway, I think the versions were great. I think he gave you lots of options. You have a carbon fiber, you have a micarta, and then you have a full tie and a full dress. I mean, you can't really ask for much more than that. So not complaining, just saying. Aesthetically, one thing I would change is I would have loved to have seen him do this logo on the pivot. I think that would be a badass looking pivot. Like if it was like milled in or even lasered on, and then keep that blade clean. But if that's how he does his customs, then, I get it. But I would do the pivot logo thing. Again, I'm just basing experience here. And I like this stuff because that's what I do on, that's what we do on our Divo stuff. So I'm kind of, mixing my review life with the Divo life, but I'm one person. So there you go. I just think it would look cool there. And then you could always offer a blank pivot like we do. And then you could have a completely sterile knife. But I totally get wanting to have your logo on the blade. And it's very minimal. I mean, it matches in really well. And there's nothing else on here. So I have no issue with it. Okay, aesthetics were good. Ergos, I think I covered. Basically, very comfortable. It's a bigger knife. So I'll compare it to the stout because I've been kind of talking about that this whole time. But yeah, just imagine like this camo carbon on here or fat carbon on here or something would be gnarly. Sorry, that's like the word of the week for me is gnarly. So here's the stout and the Strix. So you can see there's some similarities. Obviously, there's a lot more going on in the handle here and the blade, really. It's kind of like a taller version and then a more aggressive warning versus the kind of, eagle's beak thing going on here. But size-wise, this one is a bit bigger. It's almost like a blown-up kind of stout. So I think it's around 3.6, 3.5, 3.6 inches on that blade. Probably around 3.5. Although now that I'm looking at it, it might be listed at like 3.4. Ours is at 3.3, but you could call it 3 1/4. So maybe he lists it at 3.4. That's possible. 3.25 would be a stretch for me because overall it's just it's bigger. This is 7.75, so it's got to be an 8-inch knife. So there you go, 8-inch knife. Here you go, compared to the Ace Nibbler. All right, got that. We can compare it to, I'll show it to you with the Jaeger. So here we can do this so you can see the angle of the camera and how it affects size, because I have 2 of them. There you go. So it is bigger by a slight margin over the Jaeger. The Jaeger is basically Divo stout sized. So it's just a little bit bigger than that. So I would love it if this was slightly smaller. I just don't need this much knife, but it's not a problem. I like the size. It's fine. But a little bit shorter one would be cool. Ergonomics, again, very comfortable back here because of the size. You get a full grip back here. I will never hold it like that. Always choke out when I can. And this grip is perfect. I mean, it really just locks you into this spot. He did a great job When I first saw this, I was like, ooh, that's going to suck, because what if you choke up and then you're like right here and it's like awkward? Nope. Your brain, your mind, your hand, it all just goes right here and you're so locked in. I mean, it's super comfortable. It's not sharp in any way. Just feels really good in the hand, honestly. Hollow grind is stupid thin. Like I said, you get good pinch grip like this if you want. You can get up here, use that, or you can glide back here and use it. So, I mean, you can get up here, no problem. So the ergos for me are really good. I didn't notice anything like hot spotty or anything like that. Left-handed, right-handed, the clip feels good. It's not like super tall and annoying or anything. It just, you know, feels good in the hand. Carry. So I did carry this for like 4 days straight, and it's a pleasure to carry. The clip works really well. The retention's done excellently. No tap. Feels good in the pocket. These relief cuts do not get in the way. At least they did not for me on, I think, 3 pairs of jeans I had these in over the 5 days. So, works excellently. Did not notice, like, it was heavy in any way. Feels really good. It's probably, you know, 4 ounces, something like that. You do have, let's see, milling wise. You have some milling up here. And that must be, why is that? What is going on there? Let me just show you what I'm talking about. There's like this piece of milling right there, but nothing else. I don't know if that's just for balance or to facilitate the front flipper somehow. The front flipper doesn't seat into it, so I don't know if it's an acoustic feature. That would be interesting. Like maybe he figured out something. But there's just that milling. It could be a balance thing. And then there's one piece of milling right there as well. So who knows? But and then there's one down at the and then there's one down at the bottom here on the lock side as well. So you have 2 milling pockets on the lock side and you have the one on the show side. That's interesting. I guess maybe, here's a theory. On this version, I'm an idiot, sorry. On this version, you have the inlay. So that is your weight relief, essentially. You can't have another cutout under here. The titanium would get too thin. And then on the full tie ones, you have the slits. So this is actually just him adding weight relief up here. So that's nice. And then getting some in right there. So he's just trying to get it in where he can. Cool. All right. Solve that mystery. Such an idiot. Dead nut center. Carry. So cutting again, really good. 15 thousandths behind the edge. Sick hollow grind. Nice tall blade. Excellent. Cardboard cutter. Obviously it's good on paper. I opened a couple packages. It did excellent for me. I really enjoyed it. For everything I do EDC wise, really good. Sounds, yes. This thing has some of the acoustic that you hear on these customs he has that are insane. Has a good, I don't know if that's a product of the hollow grind and where those milling pockets are. You'll occasionally get a ting when you unlock it. Hear that? Did you hear that one? It rings a little when you unlock it. Hold on. I don't know. But amazing sounds, honestly. And I could only see, I could see the full tie getting better. Maybe with the slits it could be an issue, or it could make it better. Who knows? But a belt satin versus a stonewash, I'm going to go ahead and think it'll get better, but who knows? So yeah, sounds are a 10 out of 10 on this one. It's up there with the Jaeger when it comes to that. Like, it just has that effect that the Jaeger has. Just something about it's almost better, honestly, because it has it on close too, where the Jaeger kind of just duds down. Hear that? Here's the other one, just for reference. Just thuds down. This one has a little bit of a click ting when it closes. So, action / fidget factor on this knife. Okay, so here's the thing. I do have one complaint on it. It's not a complaint. It's one thing I would change, but it's also like inherent to the knife design. So I totally get it. And this is just all of this is my personal preference. And I want to preface it with saying I absolutely love this design. A custom version of this knife, like a lefty custom of this, is basically my grail at this point. And I don't have grails. Like, I literally don't have grails. I don't sit around thinking about the knife I would love to have in this like end game scenario type thing, right? Like I just, oh, that's nice, and then I buy it or whatever. I just don't have grails. But a lefty custom Strix is a grail. So my one thing before I get into action is the front flipper tab. I do not need this. I don't even want it. Like, I want the tab gone. I want this angle to be, and maybe that takes away from the closed aesthetic, but if this was just a clean cut right here, I would love that. And all I need is this reverse flick. I do not need that front flipper, and I don't really like it, to be honest. It's tall, it's fine, it's got great jimping, and the D10 is dialed strongly for the flick, but because of how big this tab is, it works excellently on the front flipper. So I have no complaints about the front flipper other than on disengagement. It's an adjustment when you first get the knife, because look how long that tab is, right? It goes to there. So what I was doing was this, and I'm like, why isn't this thing closing? Why isn't it closing? Why isn't it closing? Oh, there, and then it would finally kind of fall. You might have seen it in the unboxing, I don't know. But it's because of that flipper tab. You have to get behind it. See, you learn that. Hopefully you heard that ting there. You learn that, and it's an adjustment, and then it's fine. It's not really a complaint. But for me personally, where I'm just not the biggest standard front flipper guy, like if it's a unique front flipper or something like that, or if I can reach around it, oh yeah, if I can do a reach around, sure. But this is just a front flipper for me, honestly. I can't even do this move. I don't know if you saw earlier, but it literally tore my finger up. I've tried it twice now, and it just doesn't work for me on this specific one because the D10 is so good. So anyway, I would just get rid of it if it were me. It's not me, and it's not an actual issue. It's just, again, my preference would be to not have it. That's all. It's so good without it, it doesn't need it. That's just, where I'm at. Now, the reverse flick is just pure sex on this thing. I mean, it fires. It has a great lineup. You just are right there. Oh, man, it's just satisfying as all get out. And it really does. It fires out really well. So the reverse flick is like 9 out of 10. Thumb flick works great. You can see there. You have this hole shape where it's thinner down here, but it's wider up at the top. So you can just, thumb it out. Just stay off the lock bar. Left-handed, you can get in there, and you can flick it out. You learn to kind of flick out, not up, because you're going to hit the frame like that. Awesome stuff. Really, really like it. On the close, it's not a guillotine, but you'll see, it is a nail dropper. And it's just gotten better. When I first unboxed it, it was not doing this. Part of that might be because I was up here on the tab. But you can see it'll swing down, hit your nail, and whoosh, it's basically drop shut. If my thumb wasn't there, it would be swinging all the way down. You know what I mean? So you really can't ask for better action. I love it. It's a very high mark action knife for me. Again, sometimes this flipper tab just gets in the way, and then sometimes I want to use it, but I don't love it, and it almost wants to pinch me sometimes. But that's literally probably there's maybe two other nitpicks I'd have. So one, that's a huge nitpick, the front flipper. I don't even know why I brought it up. Now I feel kind of like a dick for bringing it up, because it's obviously inherent to the design, and I'm like saying, get rid of part of your design. Like, I don't mean it that way. I just mean I don't know what the fuck I mean. Anyway, take it however you like. The lanyard hole, I don't love. I like it aesthetically, though. I do. I like how it looks. But it does get you a little bit. in the palm there when you're going to like disengage and stuff. Again, super nitpick here. I think it's ultimately a good addition, and I think it should be there, and I like how it was added on. I do. And then the lock bar access. So the only reason I bring it up is because when I unboxed it, that ride home, I slipped off of this thing like 7 times trying to disengage it. Like, I just kept doing that and slipping past it. And I think it was just a learning curve because ever since, I really haven't had an issue. I just have learned to make sure I get the meat of my finger in there and do that. So, honestly, there is no issue with the lock bar access. I even mentioned it to him. I said, my only thing of feedback would be the lock bar. But I don't even think it really is an issue. I mean, it'd be cool if it had some, like, jimping or scalloping or something to catch you better. But if you're a type of person who just unlocks... Oh, see, I just slipped off of it? That's what I'm talking about. It's just randomly happening, I guess. I don't know. But if you're the type of person who unlocks your knife like this and just closes it, I don't think you'll ever really have an issue. I think that was, just fate that it happened to me there. But if you do it like me, like this, that's when I was kind of slipping off. But, I mean, it just drops to my nail, and we're good to go, right? And then left-handed, no issue at all. I mean, you just get your finger in there, and you're good to go. So, it's a learning curve is all it is. Because, again, I've never complained about it on the Jaeger, and it's literally identical. Literally identical. I don't know if maybe there's a little bit more meat. I don't know. Maybe just a little bit more sticking up there. Because it's never been an issue for me on the Jaeger. I've never missed it on there. So I can get it on almost any angle. And I can get this one too. So, yeah. It's just an adjustment. So, there you go. That is the Strix. It's an absolute home run. I hope you got one. I am so glad that I got one on that pre-order. I can't wait to get my version in. Dude, I just want to see it in a belt satin. Those grind lines on this blade just make me want to... they really do. They make me want to do just bad things. Yeah. All right. I'm going to shut up. The steel, I believe, was M390. Sorry, I don't know if I mentioned that. I think M390. I'm like 99% sure. So let me know what you guys think down below. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic day. Dude, thank you for letting me check this out, Greg. Really appreciate that. Yeah, it means a lot that you were willing to send this along. And I'm going to pass this around because he wanted to have it be passed around, which is really cool. So this is going over to Corey over at Stafford's EDC next. I think he's going to pick it up tomorrow. So he's a local guy. So there we go. The Strix from Sparrow Knife Co. Absolute home run. These will be in, obviously, next year. So could be a contender. Probably will be a contender for Knife of the Year 2023, which is really cool. So, I love you guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.